Let me set the scene real quick. It's Ramadan, you're fasting, or you want to make like some kind of like date night meal, you know what I mean? And you're thinking, shit, like what's one of the nicest things in the world? Steak. There's so many things to choose from, right? Like what steak are you gonna make? Well, today we're gonna have two steaks go up against each other. We have the ribeye steak that's gonna be turned into a gorgeous beef bulgogi with sticky rice. And then we got the classic filet mignon with the roast potatoes, and then at the end we'll have a taste test to see which one is the victor. So we're gonna start off by making the basmati rice for our beef bulgogi. Now I recommend using proper sticky rice, but you can use basmati rice. I just use basmati rice because that's what I have. Make sure to rinse any type of rice you're using. Then I usually go with 1 part rice, 1.5 to 2 parts water. Make sure to salt your rice, then cook your rice until done. You should be left with beautiful, gorgeous plain rice. Next, on to the roast potatoes for the filet mignon. Now start off by obviously just peeling your potatoes. Then after peeling your potatoes, put them in a bowl filled with just regular room temperature water. This is just to remove the excess starch on the potato. Then cut them into round quarters and then just plop them in a bowl. We're gonna boil the potatoes before we roast them. So when you boil potatoes, make sure to just add room temperature water in the bowl first and then put in your potatoes in straight after you put the water. Don't wait for the water to boil, but it kind of just helps cook the potatoes in evenly, or at least from what I've noticed. And always make sure to once again salt your water. Wait a couple of minutes until your potatoes are basically fork tender, and in the meantime, while your potatoes are boiling, add just a tiny stick of butter along with a bunch of olive oil in your roasting tray. I would recommend adding a bit more butter and olive oil than I added in this video. Then preheat your oven to around 180 to 200 degrees Celsius. Then you're gonna wanna stick your baking tray in as you preheat it. That way the butter melts and it becomes a little brownie, and your tray also heats up to make the potatoes extra crispy. Once your potatoes are done boiling, strain them and put them in a bowl. And as you can see, the potatoes are a bit more rusty. They have a bit more crackles on them, and that's what you want when you roast potatoes. That way you get even more crispy edges. Then for seasoning, I just added some paprika, some salt, some pepper, some chili powder, some onion salt or onion powder, garlic granules, but you can also do garlic powder, and a bunch of Cajun seasoning. But anyways, mix that up, and as you can see, the butter has become nice and brown and the olive oil super hot. Once we place those potatoes in, they're already gonna start just grilling at the bottom, making sure they're extra crispy, and then plop it in. Now for the star of the show, the steaks. We've got 1 filet and 1 ribeye steak. Now for the filet steak, I usually try to remove that piece of fiber that, you know, is chewy and no one wants. There's not really any point of having it in the meal. And to cut the ribeye, do it in very small slices. Now, what I didn't do in this video is make sure my ribeye is slightly frozen. That way it's easier to get thinner slices for the beef bulgogi. So yeah, do as I say and not as I do, as Babish says. Next, add some kosher salt for your filet steak, and I put some kosher salt in there as well. Then for the filet, add black pepper. Add black pepper to the bulgogi bowl as well, along with some garlic and onion powder. Mix that seasoning mix, and then just cover your filet in that seasoning mix. And I know it looks very heavy on just seasoning overall, but remember, this is a thick piece of meat. Then for the beef bulgogi bowl, make sure to add ginger as well. I recommend grating your own ginger, but I didn't have any ginger, so. Now for the bulgogi mix, add some toasted sesame seeds, garlic paste, soy sauce, oyster sauce, teriyaki sauce, honey as well. Now make sure you have a piping hot wide pan to put your bulgogi mixture into, because this cooks really fast. Give it like a minute or two, depending on how well you want you want this to be, but remember that it also will cook once it's off the heat. Then with your gorgeous basmati rice ball, place all of that gorgeous beef bulgogi goodness on top, and then you're done. That's the beef bulgogi recipe. Onto the filet mignon. Now on a fairly hot pan, add some olive oil, then start grilling it, probably until a nice golden brown crust has formed on both sides. Then after that, add some garlic, probably some thyme, I didn't have any thyme, and a generous stick knob of butter, and just baste that steak. We all know what basting is, making sure that steak just soaks up all that buttery goodness. And obviously the higher quality steak, especially in this case, the better. For the bulgogi it doesn't matter as much, but obviously a filet mignon, a lot of it is based on how good quality the filet is. After you grill all those sides as well, put your filet in the oven for a bit as well. I recommend just dousing on top half of the butter mixture that you added, and we'll use the rest for something else. Now with the rest of that butter mixture, I decided to be a little bit fancy, add some truffle oil, and then glaze that a little bit on your steak once it's finished. And what I did, because I added a bit too much truffle oil, is put most of it on the roast potatoes when they're almost about to be done. Alright, so now we have two gorgeous ways to cook a steak. First one, Asian classic beef bulgogi, and then we have a classic filet mignon with roast potatoes. Let's give the bulgogi beef a try first. You have that sweet soy flavor from those juices being marinated into the meat with that gorgeous basmati rice. But now for the filet mignon. As you can see when we open it up, we've got an almost perfect medium rare. I'd say it needs to be cooked a little bit less, and personally, like, I would never recommend properly marinating filet mignon for like a day, just because it doesn't seem too necessary. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've never done it before, and I probably won't ever do it again. I just did it because, you know, I was a bit lazy. We'll try these potatoes. Let me just put it close to the mic so you can hear this noise. I dropped it. Classic, crispy and clean. That truffle oil really helped with these crispy potatoes. It's nice and crispy and soft in the middle, just how you want them to be. And now for the steak. That's really tender. Personally, I would like it. I wish I cooked it slightly less, but goddamn, still really good. So, which one's better? Well, obviously when it comes to convenience, beef bulgogi wins. You know, you just add some soy sauce, some honey, a few other ingredients, and then you cook the damn thing. It takes literally a minute or two, depending on how you like it cooked. And then you just use some leftover rice. But in terms of having a real kind of meal, like a showstopper, and presentation-wise, I would say obviously filet mignon wins. But overall, personally, I have to say that beef bulgogi is the winner, just because of how easy it is to make, how much flavor this packs, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this recipe. Make more videos soon. Bye.